So the example API we are creating is going to be for a store. So there's going to be products, stores, and user data that we're going to want to get from this API. But because we don't have a database just yet, we're going to create some fake JSON data that we can return whenever an endpoint is hit. So to do this, we're going to install a small package called dummy JSON. We're going to do in our terminal npm install, save it as a dev dependency, and put in dummy JSON. And what this will do, we'll actually use handlebar templates to create fake JSON that's then returned back to us. So to keep things clean, let's go into our file explorer and we're going to create a folder and we're going to call it data. Now inside of that folder, let's create a file and we're just going to call it template.hbs. And this HBS file is the handlebars file that we're going to use as our template for creating the dummy JSON. Since we're only using these templates as dummy JSON, I'm not actually going to go into how to create each and every template, but I will show you how to create one template, and then I'm going to provide a GitHub link in the description of the course that will allow you to download all of the dummy data templates and so that you can put those into your data directory. So you can see here that I've created a template for us to get a list of users. And in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and rename this to get users so that when we hit that endpoint for get users, it's going to return this template for us. You can see that the template is repeating twice. So we're going to get 2 users when we hit that endpoint, and it's going to provide an ID, name, where they work, what their email is, date of birth, address, city, and whether or not they opted in. Now, before we start to edit our application again, let's go ahead and go to our terminal, and we need to do npm install. We're going to save it as a dependency, and we're going to install fs. Fs is used to read files on our file system so that we can read these data templates that we need for producing that dummy JSON. All right, let's go back to index.js, and we are going to add a new variable called fs, and we're going to require fs. Then we are going to also create a dummy JSON variable so that we can require dummy JSON. Now inside of our little test endpoint, let's actually rename this to point to users because we want to get the list of users from our template. And the first thing we need to do is actually set the template for this particular endpoint's dummy JSON. So let's create a variable called template, and we're going to use fs to read our get users handlebars file. And now that we've told this endpoint what template to use, let's go ahead and inside of our response, we still want to send JSON, but let's do json.parse, and we're going to do dummy JSON and parse our template. So what we've done here is dummy json.parse template actually takes and produces a string from the template, the handlebars template that we've set, but we want to send that as JSON, so we have to wrap it in JSON parse so that it sends it in the right encoding. Now in terminal, let's go ahead and we're going to run npm run dev, and it's going to start our application on port 3000. So let's open up Chrome and we'll go to localhost port 3000 and make sure that you point it to the user's endpoint. And here we have our 2 separate users. So that's an example of creating some dummy JSON that you can use to return data back whenever you hit an endpoint. As I said before, I'm actually going to provide all of the templates that you need for the dummy JSON. So be sure to look at the link in the course description, and you can add all those files to your data folder, and we can get started with creating our routes.